Their argument is, how are they going to learn how to lose? Oh, they'll get some practice. Are you familiar at all with life? Oh, it's mostly losing. My 20s, losing streak that would embarrass the Browns. Cleveland and Charlie. Give them a participation trophy. They deserve it. They're putting down the most exciting video games in the history of zeros and ones for 3 hours to play Little League Baseball, a more boring version of Major League Baseball.
The great Gary Gulman, who was here over the weekend, and I'm very happy that he's still alive. It was a little touch and go with him for a while, so... I was reading about, though, this dude over in England who was going through old video games he had from his childhood, and one of them had $1,000 in cash in it.
Whoa.
What?
He just found $1,000 inside an old video game that he stashed the money. I don't know how this kid had $1,000. He saved up a stack of 20s or something. And so he was digging through and found the money.
I went to go get my PlayStation. Now I had to use my grand's TV because it's the only one that's got them ports and stuff, right? Started looking in the games, making sure everything was... Opened up this one, mate, and look at the... Honestly, I can't believe it. I found £1,000. Young me must have hid this away.
I remember when I was selling drugs. Young me hid this away. Yeah, participation trophies. Why not? Stepping away from video games. That's all good. Alan, I worked in a middle school for 10 years, and Poundcake is right. These kids do not flush the toilet. To make matters worse, sometimes they would take it out and smear it on the walls.
Oh, come on.
Animals.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't do it because they're kids, and their excuse is, we're kids, we don't have to. There was no rhyme or reason. They just didn't flush the toilet.
Listen, I'll take the first part of that. If you're a little kid and you don't flush, okay. Smearing it on the walls?
Yeah, no, that's gross. You have to get your hands dirty in order to do that. And I don't... Poop is so disgusting to me. Like, I'm gross when I have to do it. I'm like, ew, there's poop coming out of me. It's gross. So I would never do that.
All kids love log.
What rolls fast stairs, the motor impairs, rolls over your neighbor's dog. What's great for a snack and fits on your back? It's log, log, log.
It's
What's that from? I remember
It's
that.
heavy, it's wood.
Ren and Stimpy.
Log,
It's better than bad.
it's good. Everyone wants a log. You're gonna love it long. Come on and get your log. Everyone needs a log.
Nobody does need a log from Blammo. The original.
Same company that made the other great game, Don't Whiz on the Electric Fence.
Alan, I have a key to my uncle's house, and once in a while, I will prank him by doing the old dump and ditch in the basement bathroom that no one ever uses, and I don't flush, just to see if his wife bitches at him for not flushing.
It wasn't me.
His uncle's wife, wouldn't that be his aunt? No, maybe not. What do I know?
Got married.
I had this problem with my kids. I had a bit about it where they wouldn't flush the toilet. 'Cause one of my kids was very wary of flushing the toilet because they lived in a house at one time that would... They were living with their grandpa, and their grandpa wouldn't flush the toilet, and he wouldn't put toilet paper in the toilet. It was really gross, weird situation that he had in his head that this toilet couldn't handle poop. I don't know.
Depression era stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's where it came from.
So there would always be toilet paper in the trash can and then logs that were not flushed. And I'd be like, who isn't flushing the toilet? And one of my kids legit said, maybe it's a ghost.
Maybe it's a ghost.
I was like, yeah,
That explains all the toilet
yeah,
paper.
A ghost is just coming here taking real poops. These aren't ghost poops. They're real poops.
Yeah, if you believe in ghosts, you think that they would still have to abide by the physical laws of nature.
Right.
No, because they're just a spirit. They don't have
Right,
They
but-
don't have to eat.
But they exist in the world of physical laws.
Yeah.
So, like, a ghost might be able to go through a door, but it couldn't poop.
It doesn't have to poop.
Right.
But even
Nor
when I-
could it, even if it had to. If you looked at a ghost and you could see it had something brewing in its gut, You're like, you got to get that out. You can't get that out.
Like in Casper when they're eating and all the food just falls to
falls
the
right to the
floor.
floor, yeah.
Never saw it, but I take your
You ever
point.
saw Casper?
No.
That's a cute one. You should watch it with your daughter.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll watch it with her.
Yeah.
She would like it. I think
It's
that's
really
a good
cute.
Halloween movie.
Christina Ricci is in that.
Yeah, and Devin Sawa, your buddy.
I mean, my buddy Devin Sawa. I do like Christina Ricci. I don't have a thing for five heads, but she's pretty cute, and I think
she's like 13.
very talented. What's that?
In that
She's real
movie,
young
she's
in that
really
movie.
young.
Listen, Natalie Portman was really young in The Professional, but I went to go see it in the theater. What do you want from me?
What are you trying to say right now?
I'm
know
not
exactly
trying to
what he's
say
trying to say.
anything, Bill. Not trying to say anything at all. Listen, I said before, you can tell a lot about any country based on their investments and their priorities, and I was kind of referring to how in this country, people don't really care about kids. But it is weird what people take an interest in. And as quickly as this story was captivating the nation, it went away. That Vicky White and Casey White, that 9-foot-tall inmate that the corrections officer, she sprung him out. It was like they were having some secret affair or whatever, and she sprung him. She ended up shooting herself in the face, and they get this guy, put him back in prison. The Indiana motel room where they were captured has a waiting list for people to stay there. It's a motel. It's a room 150 in a motel.
True crime.
I hate people so much.
What's interesting? It's just so strange what people. If people committed their interest and their time and their resources to things that actually mattered, rather than like, hey, let's go stay in the room that these two what?
They didn't even, did they
What's
kill
the
themselves there?
No, she killed herself when the cops closed in. This guy
But
wasn't.
in the room.
No, I think in the car, near the car. May 9th in Evansville, Indiana, about 300 miles north of the jail in Alabama where she sprung him. It was a Motel 41. That's where the cops tracked them down, and they chased him out. And she shot herself. The guy had planned to get in a shootout with the cops. They took him. But anyway, the woman who runs the motel said that I've got a weeks-long waiting list for people who want to stay in this room, and it was normally about $60 a night. She's now charging over $100 a night to rent this room. Because why not?
Yeah.
If you people want to give me your
Capitalize
money,
on
I'm a
it.
business owner. It's on the ground floor. It's room 150. And she said, I'm still getting a ton of calls about it. I have quite a few people on this waiting list.
I have a question. What
Yeah.
was there this much interest in the room where Selena got shot?
I don't think it was the same culture back then.
Okay.
I-
Was that
there
room
might
still
be-
available?
I didn't remember that she
Yeah.
got shot in a motel room.
She got shot in a Days Inn.
Oh, yeah?
It was
So
in-
things were going great for her.
There's people that are like,
Well, it
I
wasn't-
like going to see rooms where people get murdered, but I'm not going to a Days Inn.
But they're going to Evansville, Indiana.
Well, it was in Corpus
I gotta
Christi.
draw my line
and
somewhere.
it wasn't her room. It was her president of her fan club's room. And she was like, I just got some paperwork you got to sign. Just come on in here. In this dark room behind this window. Like, yeah. So I wonder if that room is available.
Yeah, so this place in Indiana, the lady who runs it, she's like, yeah, because of these two stayed in this room. I mean, I'm sure they asked her, sure she had to tell them she didn't know who they were. I think somebody got the room for them is what they determined. There was some local dude. They shot him a bunch of money, and he got them the room.
Yeah.
Because they had planned to stay there for a while.
What
didn't work
would
out
you
that
do
way.
if someone came? I mean, obviously you would say no, but what would their story be? Like if someone came up to you and was like, "Hey, I lost my ID. Will you just put this hotel room in your name? Here's the cash to cover it."
It's
Like,
Evansville,
what's
Indiana.
their
I'm sure there's all
story?
kinds of tweakers walking around. You can get somebody to do something for
I
you.
guess.
Yeah, I don't know what that story was, but they had determined that that's how they got the room. Speaking of Indiana, by the way, about 5 hours north of Evansville. This is not that far off of, it's outside Fort Wayne, a little town called Warsaw, Indiana.
Been there.
Have you been to Warsaw? Mm-hmm. All I know of Warsaw, Indiana is it's the hometown of this guy who kind of got some notoriety in radio for a while. He went by Bubba the Love Sponge.
There you go.
And this guy was from Warsaw, Indiana. And it's not a big town. It's about 16,000 people. Did you see the video of the pastor who gets up and admits to adultery? and then gets bum rushed. So this guy thinks he gets up there and he's trying to do the I have sinned thing and I'm going to go off into the wilderness and figure this out. Unbeknownst to him, the woman who was 16 when he committed adultery, she walks up on stage with her husband and grabs the mic.
Oh, boy.
After this guy. You didn't see this?
I'm not. This is exciting.
I had to chop a lot out of it because there's a lot going on here, but I kind of got you the high points. So this guy, why right-wingers aren't talking about this, I have no idea. They're dead silent on this.
Why.
I don't, these dopes where they wanted, let's burn down every institution. Why is organized religion the one institution they want to leave untouched? Why that one? Because it's a giant, inexhaustible excuse machine? Yeah. Is that what it is? So this guy gets up there, and he is going to admit to his congregation, this is John Lowe II, at the New Life Christian Church in Warsaw, Indiana, and he stands up to tell the congregation that he and his wife had been out of town ministering to people, but he wanted to confess that he had committed adultery 20 years ago when he was 38 years old. Not realizing that the girl's back there, she and some friends are filming it. She and her husband walk
How
up.
did
She's
they
like,
know?
Yeah, I was 16 when somebody got word that this was going to happen.
If God wants anything out of us, as we just heard, it's to bring healing to all who are involved. I committed adultery. It was nearly 20 years ago. It continued far too long. It involved one person, and there's been no other, nor any other situations of unbecoming conduct for the last 20 years. I will not use the Bible to defend, protect, or deflect my past sin. I have no defense. I committed the adultery.
For 27.
Okay, so anyway, what I cut out there is he does this thing, I hope y'all forgive me, blah, 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 gets a standing ovation. And he walks off because, people, listen, whatever, spirit of forgiveness. Okay, fine. Well, anyway, the woman who is now 43, the woman's name is Bobby Gephardt. She and her husband go up there and grabs the mic after he's stepped off stage to tell everybody, hey, I was 16 when this happened.
For 27 years, I lived in a prison. It was not 20 years. I lived in a prison of lies and shame. Lying to protect the Lowe family. For years, I thought I was a horrible person having suicidal thoughts, not realizing what had been truly done to me. That I was a victim, and I would still be in a prison if my brother, and many of you know him, Edgar Wolf, had not approached me just 2 weeks ago with what he had seen as a teenager that bothered him all these years. His pastor in bed with his younger sister, a t-shirt and underwear on. People knew but were too afraid to come forward, and they have now. The lies need to stop. I could give story after story after story. Dad would be in prison.
So anyway, the guy comes back to the dais there. She's like, I was 16, you took my virginity on the floor of your office. And so the pastor walks back up, and he's just kind of standing there while she and her husband are talking, like, that's not exactly what happened, and blip, blop, bloop,
We started on the desk, but then things got a little heated, and we rolled down onto the floor.
Remember you complained about the paperweight in your ass?
It might not be the way, but every time you covered up for Russ Spangle, my best friend was my age when your associate pastor was molesting his 2 daughters. And you know that. You sent him to be a pastor at another church. We can call Melanie right now, and Cassie, her sister. They sat down with you. You sent Melanie away. Don't look at me like that. You know the truth. I know, but you can tell the truth because this is a lie. I'm letting you tell it. But you need to tell the truth.
That's where the crowd starts to turn on him, too.
Tell the truth. You know better than it was.
Listen. My wife, it's not just adultery, it's another level when it's a teenager. And I will not let this man talk about my wife like that. We're done.
You did it, you need to admit it.
I just got a chance to meet we need to hear from and hold the microphone. Jay, I told you I committed adultery. I told you that it went on far too long.
Did you do it? That's all we need to know.
Yes, we did it.
You didn't tell them she was 14 years old.
No, at 16.
16.
At that point, you're grasping at straws. No, 16.
I didn't steal her bag. There was nothing in there.
Now, in Indiana, the age of consent is 16.
So it wasn't illegal. It's just immoral when you're. Well, actually, no. He's a pastor. So
that ship has sailed. Yeah, I mean, he's not alone in doing stuff that you ain't supposed to do if you're.
But what I'm saying is that makes it illegal. Him being
doesn't make it illegal. If the age of consent is 16 and she was 16, it's not illegal.
It's just like a teacher. Like you can be at 16 and a teacher could be whatever age.
If you're a person of influence,
if you're a person of influence, clergy, a doctor, or a therapist or whatever, that it makes it illegal then.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but
I'm just telling you, just like Ohio, I don't think Indiana's that different as far as those laws go. If you're a person of influence.
Well, I know that the authorities are looking into it now.
Yeah.
Old.
No, at 16.
16.
Sorry, 16.
She was 16 years old, Jay. Okay, and it was wrong. I can't say it. I can't make it right. I can't make it any better. That's just the way it is. It's not all true, but that did happen, yes.
It's just the way it is. Nothing I can do to undo it.
Just try to. That's just the way it is. His way out of this one.
Yeah, he's gonna Bruce Hornsby his way out of this one.
So what made him? What made him confess to the?
Let me enjoy the Bruce Hornsby joke.
Sorry,
Poundcake doesn't know who that is.
I have no idea.
Yeah, she handed back the purity ring that he gave her during their affair.
Yeah, well, some things will never be the same.
Just for fun, he said, "Get a job." Yeah, but people love slogans, don't they? There's that one guy, if you did it, you need to admit it.
Yep. I mean, if they go by the Old Testament, he didn't do anything wrong.
There you go. If the condom don't fit, you must have quit.
She got birthing hips.
She got big old birthing hips. Wow. That's pretty wild, though.
It's very crazy, man.
I don't know the full story. I only saw like the video, and so I'm not sure how she figured out that this was going to happen when he and his wife got back into town, or what precipitated this confession to the congregation. But clearly, this guy thought he was going to be, I sinned a long time ago. Need your forgiveness. That's a business we're in. See you when I see you.
Right.
You know, he's going to walk off and probably go on a sabbatical or something to really. But yeah, pretty wild. Hey, Joe in Philly, what's going on?
Well, I've lived in a life of shame and fear from telling this story.
Oh, yeah?
When I was in high school, I was a part-time janitor during the summer and cleaned out elementary schools, and me and my cohorts would poop in the faculty bathroom, and each of us would poop without flushing. So there would be poop, a layer of toilet paper, poop, a layer of toilet paper, more poop, and another layer of toilet paper on top. And
it's like a duty lasagna.
We like to call it a poop cake, but the reason we did it is we just didn't like this one full-timer that worked there. So we just knew he cleaned the faculty bathroom, and we would do that once a week for the entire summer. And it just made our day. I thought I'd share that with you guys.
Will you go first or last?
I think you were right to sit there in shame and silence with this, Joe. I don't. I guess I'm a different breed of cat. I don't understand the appeal of that, but clearly you're not alone.
It's called vengeance.
Yeah,
vengeance.
Very young. Yeah, very young and impressionable, and we thought it was a fun prank.
I think it's funny that you guys would all save your poops, too. Like, I couldn't...
And who would impress that upon you? You said you were impressionable, so you weren't the ringleader, you were just the follower.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was like a freshman, sophomore, junior in high school, and you had these guys who were outside of high school, had no jobs, and they were just older.
Outside. See, these were grown men outside of high school. Grown men who were like, "Hey, take a poop on my poop. It's hilarious."
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm shameful. I have a lot of remorse, and thank you for letting me follow the underage rape story. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Listen, I absolve you of all of your guilt and shame, Joe.
Thank you. Be safe, guys.
I have hot snakes, you guys.
What's hot snakes?
It's when the diarrhea comes out like a hot snake.
Andy!
I get hot snakes in bubble gut.
Andy, stop talking about hot snakes.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to break. I will have one more chance today for you to grab $1,000 at 5:30. Listen for that keyword to go fund yourself for $1,000. We'll get the Poundcake Sports Break ahead of you as well. And right after this break, more tickets to see Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. He's playing the Agora in August with Dashboard Confessional, Chris Carrabba and company. So we'll hook that up coming